this is interesting. So Trevon Diggs was doing an interview with his brother, Stefon Diggs, and this was part of an SI cover that they're on together. And they've talked a lot about how it'd be really cool to play together in the future. And Stefon just went ahead and re-upped and signed a new deal with the Buffalo Bills. And, Trevon's just getting his career started. And I think that this is something where the Cowboys aren't going out and spending a lot of money in free agency because they know, and Broadus, we've talked about this quite a bit, they've got the spreadsheet and they look years in the future. And they're probably going ahead and calculating, all right, how much money are we going to need for CeeDee Lamb? How much money are we going to need for Diggs in the future? Now, the Cowboys do have a history of not necessarily paying their defensive back, so that's something to consider. But I thought it was interesting reading some of the comments from Stefon and Trevon in this interview by Sports Illustrated. And, Stefon was saying how he wants to finish his career with the Bills. And he's pretty sure he's not going anywhere anytime soon. And they asked Trevon about playing with his brother later on in his career, and he said, who knows? I feel like it could happen eventually. Well, Stefon just signed a 4-year, $96 million extension 3 months ago, which is going to keep him a Bill until 2028. So, guys, what do you think's more likely here? If they're going to end up playing together, and the history of the Cowboys not necessarily paying their DBs, if they want to make this happen, it's probably more likely Trevon would leave and go play with his brother in Buffalo than it is we get the two of them playing together here in Dallas, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I would think so. I do want to say maybe it's a contract negotiation thing.
Could be.
And Trevon's like, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll want to go to Buffalo, where Stefon, who just got the 4-year, $96 million contract, he's more in line with talking in ways that'll make the fans like him more right now because there's not a negotiation that he's got to take care of. I wonder if in 3 years' time, if Trevon gets the deal, Stefon will be saying, oh, well, I've always wanted to play with my brother. If you don't love me, you want to have me on a lame duck type of contract, why don't you send me over there? So things can change. I wouldn't think the two brothers would get together and agree that the ideal situation is Buffalo. No offense to them. I know they got Von Miller. I know they're winning right now. But as soon as any hint of winning starts to dry up, I don't think anybody wants to go to Buffalo.
That's 100% true. I don't know what guys are really volunteering themselves to go over there. Now, if they're continuing the winning and all that kind of stuff, I could see the Cowboys being, because they haven't paid the secondary in general.
They let Byron walk.
Yeah.
And the reason was he wasn't getting the interceptions, right? Mm. Well, Diggs is.
Yeah.
But yet, what have we heard all offseason? Is Diggs even that good? Led the leagues in yards given up, blah, blah, blah. There's always something when it comes to Trevon Diggs. People are fighting amongst the fan base. How good is he even really as a cover corner? He makes the all-pro team, and then there's a debate on, is he even an elite corner to begin with? So is he even feeling the love by the Dallas fans?
That's a good question.
Right now? I don't know.
I'm not sold.
Sure.
I'm still, I have to wait when I'm going to rely on the interceptions because they're so unrepeatable. So I get it, and I won't rule out that I'll want him to go to Buffalo in 1 or 2 years' time if he's demanding top-of-the-market money. I'd say, well, Cowboys, you better trade him for a great return.
And a lot can change in 2 years.
Invested in complete players. I'm sick of paying like the 8th or 12th best player at his position like he's the best player at his position. Like the free agent dynamics are so jacked up, I think it's another way the Cowboys fail. We pay our own. Well, you pay your own if they're anywhere near the top of the market. Like happened with Tank. It's just it's how it goes. So I'd rather take my money into the trade and free agent market and pay guys who are actually the best at their position.
They've got they got Tre'Davious White on that Buffalo roster, and he's the 7th highest paid corner in the league, and his contract goes through 2025. So if you're the Buffalo Bills, are you thinking about, do you even want to do that? Do you even want to go and make
two top paid corners?
Yeah, the 2 top paid corners. Now maybe they could do something with Wyatt, but that's a team also too that they've got 2 of the better safeties in the league that don't make very much money either.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, if Buffalo has success, all these guys defensively are going to look at this and say, we're the reason why we've had success, even though, we'll talk about what's going on at receiver and at quarterback and the offensive line and stuff. But I could see these defensive guys saying, no. We're the reason why.
It'll be hard to maintain.
I think it'd be very hard. I think it'd be very hard for Diggs to get the type of deal he probably thinks he's worth.
Sure.
Going to Buffalo, especially if they have a guy, like I say, with White. If you look at his cap number, he's somewhere between $15 and $16 million.
They might be starting to tear down in Buffalo with them going for it like they are probably this year and maybe next year before the cap starts to catch up with them.
And it was just interesting because Stephon Diggs is like, it's just not going to happen. Now that he's signed the extension with the Bills, he's like, maybe in another lifetime we'll play together. And then Trevon's like, not so fast. Yeah. Maybe we can make this happen. That's why it made my eyebrow raise a little bit, where it's like, well, if it's going to happen, it's most likely you leaving Dallas to make it happen. So are you wanting to play with your brother that much where, to your point, Brian, you'd take less money to go to Buffalo?
Well, maybe, how many years are we talking about with Diggs left? I'm sorry. Is it
Stephon or Trevon?
Our guy, the Dallas.
2 years left.
2 years left. Okay, so if you think about that, that's, again, you've got White signed up through 2025. Now, maybe they want to, but he'll also be 30 years old by the time this contract runs out.
Can I throw this in here? How about, as CeeDee Lamb's coming up to get paid, you send CeeDee to Buffalo for Stephon. That's a guy who runs such incredible routes. It's like,
I mean,
that's the guy you want to pay.
For sure. That would mean like Trevon Diggs kind of has more pull with the Cowboys roster than Luka does with the Mavericks. And that's just kind of funny to wrap our minds around a little bit.
Or Dak. I mean, Dak's like, hey, CD, come move over to the locker next to me. I want you to be my guy for the rest of our careers together.
Yeah, that's true.
Are they buddies? Are they boys?
I wonder, and this is probably way off too, but I wonder, you're going to need every single dime you have to pay Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to. I mean, maybe you can't pay Diggs. Maybe you just say, you know what, we're going to go and pay the rare player.
Boy, that would tick me off to no end. If you're not going to pay any free agents because you draft so well, and then you're not even going to pay the guys you draft.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they did it with Byron Jones.
Yeah.
But Diggs is the one guy that does create the turnovers, though. He does. He finishes. He's an outstanding finisher. I'll be interested to see how this year, if he has another year where he gets, and I'm going to say over and under probably 5 interceptions, I would say. I mean, I don't think he's going to get 11, but I'm kind of feeling like, though, that I wonder if they're thinking about earmarking money for Parsons in the future. That's the most important one to them defensively. They could build around everything else, I think.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. I think the opportunity to play with a sibling or go play on a team your dad coaches on or something is just such a special life opportunity that all things being equal, for sure, you'd want to pursue that. I just wouldn't want to do it in Buffalo. I'd be like, come on, bro, I'm not going up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the Cowboys can't mess around and lowball an offer there.
Well, I never believed this working in Green Bay. We got people to come play. Once Reggie White came to Green Bay and you start winning, players make their offseason home. They can live in Buffalo from August through February, and then they can go live somewhere else for the other months. So I never believed we could bring players to Green Bay, but it works. You're winning.
Josh Allen's getting paid. They bring in Von Miller on a huge deal. I'm just assuming that this is coming to an end. They're not going to be the perennial winner that you guys were in Green Bay for. It's still going.
I tell you what, Brandon Beane, the general manager up there, is really, really good. I mean, I've seen publications and stuff where he's been the best general manager in the league. That people are talking about him as the number one general manager. So him and that coach do a great job together.
All righty, it is the GBag Nation here on 105.3 The Fan. Elsewhere in Cowboys land, Von Miller, had been mentioned already in this segment, says, and he made big headlines, he would have joined the Cowboys for less, but they essentially offered him the Randy Gregory deal. Yeah, that was, 5 years and $70 million, and it wasn't enough for Von Miller. He would have liked to really come to the Cowboys, but I think that's, to me, the biggest sign that they are, sort of looking at this year as kind of a rebuild and not a go for it. They're not willing to commit any sort of financial resources to trying to make the team better. And that was after Randy Gregory left.
It's funny because I'm looking at overthecap.com, and Von Miller's cap number is $5.1 million. I mean, is that to me? I mean, that seems very doable if I was the Cowboys, but I guess not.
Because all of it's backloaded. See, that's kind of what I'm saying about Buffalo. They're spending with the credit card right now to get as many good players on the team. They're going to have to pay the bill in the next couple of years.
His base salary is 1.1. His bonus was 3.7. He gets $255,000 per game. He gets a $100,000 workout bonus.
But it's 51 guaranteed. It's $51 million guaranteed, and they're only paying 5 of it in year 1. So over the next 3 years, at least $15 million. That's what it takes to win the Super Bowl in this era, is to be so reckless with getting players on now and saying, we'll pay for it after we win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And if 4 or 5 teams are doing it, only one of them gets to win it. It is a very, very risky game that, and apparently Buffalo has decided it's worth it to try to get it to happen.
Well, it's a $5 million cap hit for them this year for Von Miller, but then it goes up to almost 19, then 21, 21, 23, and 30. And there's no way he's going to be on the team at that point. The dead cap number, goes down precipitously, but the dead cap number for the first 3 years, 45 million, 40 million, and 21. So he's going to be on the roster for 3 years, you would imagine.
Yeah.
But
unless there's some kind of out in the deal.
In the moment when we're all doing this and we were experiencing it in real time, I think it was our tryout week, was NFL free agent week, and it was a blast. And we're seeing all these news, and we're like, okay, having Von Miller would be outstanding. But looking back with the way they did the offseason, it's not like it changes anything. Yeah, you put Von Miller on this roster right now with the way the roster is.
How much different are we feeling?
I would say next to no difference.
I think we are thinking, though, that this defense is going to have to carry the football team.
Yeah.
And you are enhanced in that ability by having another premium pass rusher, the quality of a Von Miller.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that you have a lot of young pieces along that defensive line.
There was a time last year around week 10 or 12 or something like that. I can't exactly pinpoint it, but when they had Randy and Tank back and Micah Parsons was there, and they had the ability to rush the passer with 3 elite guys, it really made it feel like that quarterback is shaking in his boots as soon as he hikes the ball. And it totally dominated them. Now, these games were happening while the Cowboys offense was misfiring and was frustrating. So we came in here on Cowboys Mondays and everybody was bent out of shape about how the Cowboys were boring and only scored 23 or 25 points and couldn't run the football. It was all negative. But in these games, the defense was going out with Randy, Tank, and Micah pressuring the quarterback and making the other team's offense look inept. They managed to win quite a few games while their offense was pathetic. The offense remained the story. But I do think a Von Miller or a Randy Gregory would have given you a significantly better chance of dominating with defense. It's a chance that you're now hoping Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, and Dorrance Armstrong can cobble together for you. But on a snap-by-snap basis, you just can't replace the speed factor, the terrifying factor for quarterbacks that Randy Gregory or Von Miller would have presented.
Yeah, again, going back and just looking at these numbers and stuff, it looks like really a 2-year deal because he's got a $13 million roster bonus in 2023. So, we'll see with that.
Oh, okay, so that's part of the guarantee?
That's part of the guarantee.
So it's more like a $38 million guarantee?
Exactly.
Something like that?
Yep.